What's up, everybody? This is Kyron Williams with the Los Angeles Rams running back. I'm super excited to see you at the Fantasy Sports Summit.
Hey guys, it's Tajay Spears, Tennessee Titans running back, and you listen to the Fantasy Football Counselor.
Hey, it's Rashid Shaheed, and I'll see y'all at the Fantasy Sports Summit, August 21st. Can't wait.
Welcome to the show, guys. Happy Wednesday. Mega episode here. We're talking my favorite topic, top 10 fantasy football running backs, non-consensus style. There is a little consensus on this because I had Jim on the show. He convinced me to put some players on the top 10 that I didn't really want in the top 10. But here we are, Jim. Welcome to the show. We're talking top 10 running backs today. I'm pumped to talk running backs on any show for that matter. What's happening?
Hey, counselor, I'm just cruising along, man. I mean, how'd you like all the football this past weekend? Did you watch any of it?
I watched a bit of it, man, and it's interesting because a lot of those guys, some of them are really coming out of the woodwork and highlighting their abilities. So, Caleb Williams, the Jaden Daniels of the world, it's starting to show, and I'm excited about preseason. I'm going to be watching the next couple of weeks. Hopefully we get some more starters. I'd like to see more starters play. But man, oh man, we are in full flow fantasy football season. I feel it. I mean, people are booking up the direct calls. You guys want to book direct calls? We're taking those, and that's limited because they are booking fast. My calendar is like it's filling up. So if you guys want direct access to me, you can book it, guys. Also, you don't want to skip announcements because there's a lot of stuff at the beginning of the show. Some people skip it, like, oh, I want to get past the first 3 minutes. There's a lot of important announcements and the latest news. You're going to miss out golden nuggets and information. It's going to make your experience better for fantasy football. So you don't want to skip intros, Jim. Do you skip intros, Jim? I don't skip intros. People have important information, especially as independents, right?
Sure. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so again, I want to get to a couple of things before we start, guys. If you haven't gotten 16 rounds, go grab it below and the 16 round plus tool. Sleepers, breakouts, auto players drafts each round. Once you sign up, you're going to get an email. That email is going to give you all my mock drafts, everything, and a printable cheat sheet. I update 16 rounds until the season starts. Once you're in there, you're going to get a discount on the draft tool, guys, which is absolutely amazing. Jim created it. It's going to give you guys all of the contract players, regression players, bounce back players. You're going to have a lot more insight. You can pull up this tool, customize it to your draft, and away you go. So that's going to get you guys solved from the draft perspective, okay? You guys are going to be set. You're going to crush your leagues. And now for the in-season, I do have a Patreon group. This is very, very important. That's going to be the in-season. Join the front lines right now. Patreon.com/FFCounselor. Waiver wires, direct Q&A. I'll leave a post there. I get to your questions over a certain time period. Lots of perks for the Patreon group. Discounts to courses, swag, and all that stuff. Exclusive videos. Patreon.com. And finally, guys, make sure you guys do, of course, grab a ticket to the Fantasy Sports Summit. You can combo it with the 16 rounds for the best price. We got Kyron Williams, Trey Benson, and this is a week away. Jim, it's a week away, 1 week away from the Fantasy Sports Summit. Jim, are you pumped?
I am pumped, counselor. I want to talk to these guys, find out what's going on.
Oh, man. Super exciting. Pat Fryermuth, Kyron Williams, Trey Benson, Tajay Spears, Rashid Shaheed, Frank Gore Jr. It's going to be awesome. Jim's going to be on. Make sure you guys grab a ticket to the summit. This is going to be massive, okay? That's it for announcements, man. It's going to be, I'm pumped. Again, we give you guys the full solution with everything to enhance your fantasy football experience because we're just guys like you and we want to create something for you guys that's going to enhance your experience, okay? So let's talk about the latest news and notes here. This one's a little dated. It's a day or two ago, but I really want to talk about it here. Where's Breaking Brad? Breaking Brad, where are you?
We now have breaking news.
All right. The Jahmyr Gibbs thing, let's talk about it here. At the time of this recording, we're going to record this, a day before we release it, but Jahmyr Gibbs, that hamstring, I mean, we're talking top 10 running back, so we're going to talk about this when we get to Jahmyr Gibbs on this, but are you concerned, Jim, with this injury, the hamstring?
I can never not be concerned when it comes to hamstrings, man. It's just one of those kind of injuries that just kind of lingers. Hopefully they're saying it's just a minor hamstring injury. So hopefully he has enough time to heal so it won't affect him during the regular season. But we're getting close now, man. I mean, we're talking less than 4 weeks now till the season starts. So, you hope everything's going to be okay. But yeah, I mean, it obviously it's clearly going to impact his score, his Cuddy score, and all that sort of stuff. So, just going to have to monitor that. But this is one of the reasons why I like to wait to draft my players, man. All these injuries that are coming through, man. Well, it's like when I did that draft that you posted yesterday.
Yeah.
And I took Sam Laporta, and Sam Laporta, they had reported that he had just had a toe injury, but then the next day it came out, oh no, it's a hamstring injury. I'm like, what?
Crazy.
And so, that's the sort of thing that you're at risk for at this point of the year. So anyway, there seems to be a steady stream of injuries every day too, which is also very scary and very frustrating. Hopefully he's okay. I think he's going to be fine, but I'm going to back off drafting him until we hear something more, hear some more clarification.
We're going to see what type of grade it is, how serious it is. Could be 1 to 3 weeks, or it could be 4 to 6. It depends. And then could it linger back? It's going to be wild, man. And again, that kind of boosts up David Montgomery a little bit, but that's a whole other discussion here. But Montgomery has his share of injuries. It's crazy, man. Again, I've told everybody, and we talked about this, I was kind of turned off Jahmyr Gibbs. He is a 16 rounder. Actually, we'll get to Jahmyr Gibbs if he's in the top 10. We'll get to him later. I don't want to spend too much time on him. But again, you should be comboing 2 running backs if you grab Gibbs anyway on that turn, which we'll get to in a second here. Other than that, there's some irrelevant news I don't want to spend too much time on. Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool is on IR. And here's the funny thing here about this. I actually have a post here. Is a season-ending injury on IR for Claypool? I remember I posted on my story mode on Insta a screenshot of when they signed Claypool. I go, this is a very expensive bench warmer. And people in the comments say, oh, whatever, man, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, Claypool sucks. Like, you might as well pay a super fan to warm the bench. And sure enough, he's going to be warming the bench on IR. Like, why do they even do these irrelevant signings? Like, I don't understand why teams, like, if a player's had years to wow you, you're not wowed. Why acquire them? Why draft them? It almost seems like a waste of a pick. It's crazy, man.
Well, I think it's a depth piece. I think they want to just see if the guy can do anything. And, chances are he was going to be cut before the season started anyway. So,
yeah. And this is another jump for Keon too, because now you've got Keon, less people in that, wide receiver committee, one less guy to worry about. So that's really, really good for Keon. Another thing, I know you won't care about this news, but a guy that was endorsing the brand years ago, it might be a relevant signing, or it might be something that could be huge. Martavis Bryant has signed with the Washington Commanders, Jim. Martavis.
Why do we care about this, counselor? I mean, these guys are so irrelevant. They haven't been good in years. I mean, Martavis Bryant was good for like the first 2 years he was in the NFL, and he's been like a hot mess ever since. I don't even care about this guy. Wherever he goes, I don't care because he's not going to be a competition for anybody that's on that team. I mean, I don't know. This just seems like we're wasting time.
Maybe Jaden Daniels will make him emerge. Anyway,
I don't think so.
You never know. You never know. All right, so let's get to these top 10 running backs here. Again, we're going to count them down from 10 to 1. Where's Breaking Brad?
We now have breaking news.
We're done with you, Breaking Brad. You can take the banner off. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're going to go down from 10 down to 1. Okay, now we do have a bonus one here that we're going to give at the top. Now, Jim and I argued on this list. There's a couple guys on this list I don't want on this list, but we're doing it kind of consensus style, kind of like how they would kind of come off the board. But do you want to explain it, Jim, better? You're the one who kind of organized this list. I'm not really happy with a couple players in here. Again, that's why 16 rounds is draft solution, so you can avoid some of these players and not draft on ADP. But we kind of did it based on kind of on the Cuddy score, essentially, right?
Yeah, well, we're scoring all the players on the Cuddy score. So that's consistency, upside, durability, depth chart, and youth. In my app, the players get earned points on each of those criteria. Those points are added up. That gives you a Cuddy score. It's a score of 0 to 100. Obviously, 100 is best. Yeah. And, depending on how those criteria go, determines how many Cuddy points are scored. And we're just basically looking at the top 10 running backs coming off the board and how we would rank them. So these are, according to ADP, these are the top 10 players that are coming off the board. How do we like them? How do they score? And where are we placing them in the top 10? So...
Okay, so let's just get right through it. People will get the idea here once we get rolling. All right, so first one is Josh Jacobs coming at number 10. Now, again, I don't have, and I'm going to be transparent with you guys. I'm not going to just tell you draft Josh Jacobs. I have no stock. but I definitely see some upside here for sure. Marshawn Lloyd dealing with a leg injury. I think it's a hamstring injury already. He was the rookie they drafted. Josh Jacobs putting himself in a great position. But last year, didn't have a great season at all. What was he? 3-point-something yards per carry, under 1,000 yards, 233 attempts. Did not look good last year, Jim. And again, maybe that's part of the reason is like he wanted to move. He's like, I got to get out of here. But you would think that if he's going to get traded or paid somewhere that he would step it up, or was he playing his best? I don't know. But the way he finished last year, not exciting, but he is on a good offense. We saw Jordan Love preseason. I don't put too much weight in it. He looked good. That big throw to Dontayvion Wicks. I mean, there's some exciting stuff here with Jordan Love and the Packers offense, and Josh Jacobs is going to be a good contributor. You know, barring any type of injury, if he gets going, this guy could absolutely boom. Again, I think it's one of those picks where it's kind of like on the fence or not, whether he booms or falls off and becomes average. It's kind of that pick there. And I'm leaning a little bit more on the bust side. I could be wrong. I don't know. I'm not in on Jacobs that much, but if he does well, he's easily a top 10 running back based on volume, opportunity, and situation. What are your thoughts on Jacobs?
Yeah, I mean, everything looks better for Jacobs this year than what he had last year. And I just like to remind everybody that 2 years ago, Jacobs was the number one running back in the league. He had over 400 touches and targets. It was this insane workload that he carried. And so for me, it wasn't surprising at all that he busted last year. That takes a big toll on the body. Obviously the Raiders offense got worse last year as well. That didn't help him either. But now he goes to an upgraded situation. Better offensive line, better quarterback, offense, more scoring opportunities. These are all positive trends, and that makes me really like Josh Jacobs. Also, his chief competition, which I consider Marshawn Lloyd, injured, not getting reps, not playing with the quarterbacks, not showing off to the coaches. So that helps further solidify Jacobs' role. AJ Dillon is the only other guy there. AJ Dillon is a nothing burger. My one concern with Jacobs right now is he is dealing with a groin injury, which is kind of like hamstring injuries. They tend to linger. So that's a little bit of a concern for me. I bypassed him in a draft recently because of that injury, but should that get cleared up and we see him again as a full participant during training camp here or participating in one of the preseason games, I'm back on board with Jacobs and I'd be drafting him full force because I think it's an absolute great situation, great bounce back situation. And right now he scores 82 cutty points. So that's 82 out of 100. That's a solid recommend. That's a great score. So I like him a lot. And I think he's going to do just fine this year.
Yeah, again, I just want to tell you, I have zero stock in him. And when we're talking about like regrets or maybe some pick I may regret, it might be Josh Jacobs. And he's coming off round 2 to 3, I would say, right? He's kind of
right around the 2-3 turn. Yes.
Yeah, and you're getting a workhorse guy, but again, it should be interesting to see how he does this year. I don't know. Last year's 3.5 yards per carry is really turning me off. But again, it's a new year, a new team. We'll see how it goes. So we got him at 10. Coming at number 9 here. Now, the way I feel about this guy, we're talking Isaiah Pacheco. I know you're really high on him. I'm not as high on him, although I definitely see how safe he could be, how much volume he could possibly get. Last year, taking a look at his stats, he did okay, man. 205 attempts, 4.6 yards per carry, 7 touchdowns on the ground, a bunch of receptions, 44. I mean, last year, why didn't he get over 1,000 yards rushing? For me, if I'm drafting a guy relatively early or if he's in the top 10, I go for the explosive guy, the guy with the massive ceiling. I mean, he runs hard. He's got that run where he runs hard. I get Pacheco. He's safe. I just feel he lacks the overall ceiling just because of that offense, spreading the ball around. They've got more weapons now. Rashee Rice, Marquise Brown got banged up. I get Hollywood Brown. Xavier Worthy stretched the field. But I mean, I think you said it before in another video. Competition, right, Jim? There's nobody else there. There's nobody else here.
Yeah, again, it's one of those backfields where it's like, okay, Pacheco's going to get all the work. He's going to get all the work on probably a top 5 offense, which is going to have a ton of scoring opportunities. He's getting more involved in the passing game. Again, from 2022 to 2023, he went from 14 targets to 49 targets. That's fantastic. And chances are he could even further expand that. Likewise, his rushes, he went from 170 touches in 2022 to 205 last year. I still see that as an upward trend. I can see him getting more because several key pieces of the backfield have left. And, you know, I mean, really, who's his competition in this backfield? Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Who cares?
Yeah.
Deneric Prince, isn't that another guy they're talking about who's like a day 3 guy? I don't care about that guy. So really the backfield is his. It is a contract year for the guy. On a great team, on a great offense. Again, it's just about opportunity and situation. He is in the perfect opportunity / situation this year. I really, really like Pacheco. And he's one of those guys I'm going to be very much keen on targeting in like the 3rd round. I think he's a great 3rd round pick. So I like him.
What are you talking about? No competition. They're running Kadarius Toney at running back, so he keeps his job. Maybe a Kadarius Toney come in and take all.
I don't care about Kadarius Toney's not a running back. You know, I mean, I mean, I think, you know, he's going to get all the work in this backfield. All the work is his. We're talking like an 80 to 90% market share, which is really unprecedented. It's hard to find in today's NFL. There's all these split backfields. This does not appear to be a split backfield at all. So I'm just like, wheels up. Let's go.
All right. Smash it, tap it, slap it, guys. Hit the thumbs up. Drop us in the comments below. What are you guys thinking of this list? Number 8 here. Again, another guy. There's certain players I just don't feel warm and fuzzy about, and Taylor's one of them. He's the one that came out with those new hats. Did you see when he came out in preseason? He came out with those. What are those hats called? Where you got the foam on top?
Oh yeah, those things those hats are those helmets that are designed to prevent concussion.
The Guardian.
I mean, I think it's good.
Guardian.
This dude has a problem with injuries, right? So yeah, protect yourself, man. That's fine. I'm fine with it. It doesn't affect how he plays the game. You know,
I hope not. I hope it doesn't. But he came out with a Guardian cap. Anyways,
yeah.
You've got a quarterback that he didn't look that good, man. He like Anthony Richardson missed a couple easy passes, so it looked maybe it was just the jitters or something like that. You know, first game jitters coming back. We haven't seen much of him. We know that when he did play, he was a goal line vulture. Jonathan Taylor, though, is the only guy there. There's like, who else is in that committee? There's literally nobody else. I'm looking at Trey Sermon, Evan Hall, Tyler Goodson, who? You know, so when I look at that, that is prime pickings for a workhorse running back, barring any injury. But that's the problem. Taylor's been hurt the past couple of years, can't seem to get it going. But that being said, when you look at, if there's a chart trending chart down and up, he's definitely, he's dipped down a little bit. Now he's trending upwards. So I definitely see a boom upside type of ceiling for Taylor. I personally have no stock, although I can definitely see how he could do good. I don't know who I was hearing from. I think it was a beat writer. I have my watch on. I don't have it on right now, but I've got, X going. I've got Instagram going. I've got these news sites. I got beat writers. I got, the actual, the NFL website. I've got all of these things going. And I was reading somewhere that someone was saying that Jonathan Taylor is like a special breed. Like, he looks really good this year. He's ready to go. So again, I get rumblings everywhere. Anyway, Taylor's kind of that boom type player this year. Again, personally, I've done my drafts. I've got no stock, but I definitely see the appeal here if he bounces back and trends upwards. What are your thoughts on JT, Jimmy?
Yeah, I do not like Jonathan Taylor at all.
Wow.
First of all, it's been 3 seasons since he had that breakout season where he got over 2,000 all-purpose yards or something like that. It's been a steady downhill drop since then. The guy can't stay healthy. He's missed tons of time, both last season and the season before. He is now playing in an offense with an elite rushing quarterback, a beast of a man that is going to vulture the goal line. I am just not at all into Jonathan Taylor. In fact, on the Cuddy score, he barely recommends as a qualify. He scores 43 Cuddy points. 40 is kind of my cutoff for being a recommend. So he's again, it's that low durability. His consistency is good. His value appears to be good here, but as a second round player with that sort of injury history, I just got to say, I'm just not really interested.
Right.
So that's where I'm at. I don't think I'm going to end up with any Jonathan Taylor this year. I don't think I've taken him. I've done I almost 50 best ball drafts. I don't think I've taken him in a single one. I don't think I have any shares of this guy. And I just don't think it's a good situation. I just don't think he's going to be worth the pick.
I've got 0 shares as well. And this is why rankings don't really help you, because you're not getting this extra insight here, right? Now, we're doing this just for view purposes, we do a top 10 list. And also, not only that, but to give you guys insight. I know a lot of people say, give me the top 10 running backs, give me rankings, give me rank. That's why I do it. I appease and I make everybody happy. But listen to what we're saying. You're seeing the name, you're seeing the list, but listen to what we're saying. That's why 16-round draft solution gives you all the optimal players, omitting guys. Like there's a guy on this list that I'm not drafting. There's a bunch of guys on this list I'm not drafting, but they're on this list because it's based on ADP, but you need to hear the insight around that player so that you guys can identify potential red flags and potentially, not draft them. Like last year, Tony Pollard, top 10 list everywhere. We told you to avoid Tony Pollard. I'm like, Tony Pollard, don't draft. He's not a true RB1. Or Austin Eckler, he was on a downwards trend. Do not draft. But he was in the top 10 list everywhere. And I said, do not draft these guys. That's why I hate doing certain top 10 lists, because I hate rankings and we know it's going to change. So you guys need to be aware of that, okay? Next one here is Kyren Williams coming at number 7. He was on the show. He's going to be at the Fantasy Sports Summit. If you've not got your Fantasy Sports Summit ticket, grab it below. We're going live in 7 days with Kyren Williams, Trey Benson, Pat Fryermuth, Rashid Shaheed, Frank Gore Jr., and Tajay Spears. You're going to be entered for a PS5 giveaway. Guys, this is massive. Grab your ticket right now. Fantasy Sports Summit, Kyren will be there. And if you watch the show when I did top 10 running backs with him almost a month ago now, like 3 weeks ago, he's saying, I'm like, Kyren Williams, should we draft you? He goes, is an elephant heavy? I say, yes, draft. He was very, very confident. Obviously we have some concerns here. Jim, do you want to express your concerns here with Kyren Williams before I kind of give my 2 cents on this?
Yeah, and I do like Kyren Williams better than Jonathan Taylor. It's a better situation. It's a better offense. It's got a quarterback who doesn't run the ball. He was obviously featured last year. Sean McVay loves this guy, loves to scheme him in. He was just getting an insane workload last year. I do not anticipate he's going to get that kind of workload this year. But again, he's got durability issues just like Jonathan Taylor does. So Blake Corum is there. Blake Corum's getting a lot of buzz in camp. Blake Corum could be the goal line guy. We don't know. But I do like the situation. I do definitely like it better than Jonathan Taylor. It is a contract year for Kyren Williams, so that's also really good. Yeah. So, as far as cutting point scores go, he scores 50 cutting points, which is a recommend, and it's better than Jonathan Taylor. So I do like him. I think he is a good choice, although he does have those durability risks. So, but he's got the upside. I think he's got the upside way more than Jonathan Taylor does.
So my biggest concern here is the Blake Corum acquisition, the drafting him in the 3rd round, 83rd overall. I mean, this guy was really good in college, 5'8", 200 pounds. And if you look at his college numbers, absolute beast in 2022, 2023, 247 attempts in 2022, 258 attempts in 2023, 27 touchdowns on the ground in 2023 in Michigan. Right? We're talking where he can catch the ball too. He only had 1 receiving touchdown in his last year of college, 16 receptions for 117 yards, but explosive, dynamic, good vision. I mean, this guy could have been a starter anywhere in Blake Corum. Now he's there with Kyren Williams, who has shown a side of injuries. But when I was talking to, Kyren, very confident, very strong. He believes he's got the starting job. I didn't feel any hesitation at all, like any doubt in his mind. And it's almost kind of like they doubted him before. So he had a chip on his shoulder because this guy was not an early round draft pick. Like he just kind of came out of nowhere, right? He had the opportunity and just really, really boomed with it. And I like that underdog mentality. So he's still in a good position. Mind you, I just think Blake Corum will eat into that volume. No matter how good Kyren does, Blake will be integrated. I don't know how much. And that is my concern, drafting Kyren Williams high. Speaking of no concern, let's get to number 6. Derrick Henry. See, this is what I mean. Like, there's a difference here because when you look at Derrick Henry here, there is no concern about somebody else coming in. And these are the types of running backs I love. Now, I talked about this on my last show. We're talking massive upside players. It's like the problem I'm having here was old player, right? Derrick Henry, new team. And it's the crossing of the streams. I remember talking about this back in like January, February, March, whenever we were talking. I was kind of out on Henry, but then I, came to my senses and realized, oh my God, he could really boom. And how I came to my senses on that was this, right? And by the way, crossing of the streams, this is just no regular team. This is Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, right? They got a good explosive team. And this is no regular running back. That's why I've kind of broken the rule of the crossing of the streams for Derrick Henry. But again, I came to my senses when I looked at Gus Bus's stats last year, and we're talking Gus Edwards, a guy years to wow us, we're not wowed. and he had 13 rushing touchdowns to 810 yards, 198 attempts, and 4.1 yards per carry. He finally came alive. So that man tells me that this offense is doing the right things. And Derrick Henry, I don't see any reason why he doesn't get 20 touchdowns this year if he's healthy. I mean, that's the type of ceiling we're talking about. And this guy wants to win a Super Bowl, Jim. He wants to win. He's in a position. He probably, when he signed this, he's like, put me in a position where I can actually win a Super Bowl. Now he's in it, and he's going to play with everything he's got, because a lot of these players, I was watching the Olympics, Novak wasn't playing good at the Wimbledon, and if you're a tennis fan, it's about motivation, but he was really motivated to win that gold medal. And I watched him. He played the best tennis of his life against a young Carlos Alcaraz in the Olympics. And it's all about motivation. And I really feel, and I'm using that as an example here, I really feel Derrick Henry is going to be motivated this year. I'm in on Henry, man. I'm in. Second round pick to second and third round. That's value. I saw him fall as late as like early third in a couple of these money drafts. It's crazy, Jim. That's great value. Great value.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, again, just like Josh Jacobs, this is a guy that's going into a situation where everything is upgraded for Derrick Henry. Better quarterback, better offensive line, better offense. And also the fact that Lamar Jackson doesn't run in a lot of touchdowns. He doesn't do a lot of vulturing like Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen does. Those guys just take over at the goal line. But Lamar doesn't really do that. Lamar only had like 5 rushing touchdowns last year. That's usually about what he gets each year. So that means there's going to be a ton of opportunities for Derrick Henry to score. And yeah, again, the 20 touchdown thing, that's part of the reason why I'm in on him. My big concern with him is his age, as he is 30. Yeah. This is a 30-year-old running back here. But I think we can all agree that Derrick Henry is built different. He is a different kind of freakish, athletic human being.
Right. Yep.
So yeah, I really like the situation. I've taken a ton of Derrick Henry in all my best ball drafts, because usually I can get him in like the 4th round. He's really easy to get in best ball. But yeah, he scores 66 cutty points. That's awesome. That's a great score. And absolutely a better choice over Kyren Williams and Jonathan Taylor. So yeah, that's where I'm at with him.
I feel warm and fuzzy. Speaking of warm and fuzzy, why don't you guys get settled in right now to mybookie.ag. This is the site I use for all my bets, guys. Head on over to mybookie.ag. The code you want to use, FFC. Go create an account, and there's up to $1,000 in welcome bonus there. First-time user, if you use that code FFC. You get all the perks. mybookie.ag. Football is back, Jim. We guys got to get in on the action, whether you're doing spreads, whether you're doing the picks of the week, whoever you like. mybookie.ag. If you guys are into bets, get into mybookie.ag right now. Use code FFC to enhance your game watching experience. That's the site I use. Go create an account, put down your first deposit. Like I said, up to $1,000 in welcome bonuses. Use code FFC at mybookie.ag. Go create an account right now. Then you're all set. Football's back. Week 1 starts, or even in preseason, there's UFC, there's other stuff that you can get in on. Go do it right now. All right, let's get to number, there's also a code here we left here. You guys can scan that. All right, let's get to our next guy here. And we got some question marks with this guy, Jahmyr Gibbs. And let's get right to it here. Obviously, hamstring injury. At the time of this recording, we don't know how the severity of the hamstring injury. I would assume it's going to be, let's say, 3 weeks. We know these things linger. How do I know? When I first experienced this firsthand, I was an owner of Leonard Fournette. He was on Jacksonville Jaguars. I remember this clear as day. I don't remember what year we're talking, probably 2014, 15. I could be wrong. The years are flying by. I can't keep track anymore. But it was Leonard Fournette, and I owned him. And like, he had a hamstring, and he went out and he came back in like a week or two later, and he aggravated again. Me, being a Leonard Fournette owner that year, he wasn't my RB1, but he was like a flex or something. I was really pissed off. I'm like, why can't this guy get it going? Then I started learning about hamstring injuries and how they were annoying and how they linger, yada, yada. So we see it every single year. Players get sidelined, and now Jahmyr Gibbs showing signs of this. Now, good news is it happened, August, 11th, 12th, right? 10th, whenever it happened. So we still have like a month to the regular season. And, this is still a concern because you've got Montgomery there. And if there's any inkling that like we got to rest Jahmyr Gibbs week 1 or 2, or even in the season, just to kind of, cater to this hamstring injury, now we've got issues. Now we got to deal with. So Again, I've got him in one league where I got him in the third round. It was a super flex league. He fell to me in the third round. I don't know how. It was just the way that the draft happened, where it kind of swung back. You get like it's a snake draft, but it swings back to your draft. So you get like 2 picks, you get 2 and 3. Anyway, long story short, he's on my team in that super flex. Other than that, I've got no other Jahmyr Gibbs stock. But I warn you that if you do draft Jahmyr Gibbs, be aware of this and don't be upset when you see Montgomery come out on the first drive. I've talked about this since like January, and make sure you combo him with someone else. Like, I don't know, whoever's coming off, like a Saquon, and then you go Gibbs, make sure he's stacked, because he's coming off late round 1, early 2. Now, Jim, I don't know, is this going to really affect his ADP? I'm assuming people are a little bit turned off of this, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's actually been moving up in ADP, and I think this is going to probably bust him back down to late 1, early 2. But yeah, hey everybody, this is a great reason. This is a great reason why you always wait to draft as long as possible, because it's in those early drafts when you take Jahmyr Gibbs. Like I know in that last draft I did, Jahmyr Gibbs came off at like 6 or 7. He came off 6 or 7. And how do you think that guy's feeling today? He's probably not feeling great, for taking him so early. I love Gibbs. I really love the Detroit Lions this year. I think these guys can be the Super Bowl winner. I mean, wouldn't that be exciting? Wouldn't that be exciting to see a team like the Lions win the Super Bowl? I'm in on this offense 100%. And so this is really kind of a devastating hit that he's dealing with. So I would completely back off him until we get some clarity on this hamstring injury. I would like to see it if he was able to come back before the season starts, be full participant in practice. That's going to make me more comfortable to draft him. But yeah, I mean, I love Gibbs. He's going to get all the high value touches and targets in this offense. He already has all the receiving work out of the backfield, but also last year we saw him taking a bigger share of the goal line work away from David Montgomery. If Montgomery is primarily working between the 20s, I got no problem with it. Let him run all he wants between the 20s. But once we get in the red zone, man, give it to Gibbs and let him score touchdowns. So I would actually have Gibbs ranked higher than 5th here. Like I was saying, he should probably be 3rd or 4th. Anyway, yeah, the hamstring injury is a problem, and I'm not going to be drafting him until we get some clarity on how severe this injury is.
All right. So yeah, Gibbs, big time risky pick. All right. Number 4 here. Again, I don't know if you could see what I put beside this guy's name here, Jim. Can you see that? Do not draft. Again, we had an argument here. I didn't even want him on this top 10 list. And you got into like, why do I dislike this guy? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't like him, Jim. You want to go, I'll tell you why I don't like him, but why don't you go over the reasons why you do like him?
Well, I just think, for me in the app, he's a risky pick. He's got this yellow triangle around his Cuddy score. But he does score 45 Cuddy points. So he is a recommend. And obviously the biggest risk with this guy is his age. At age 28, running back coming off 2 great years in a row, he could absolutely be this year's Austin Eckler. Absolutely. That's absolutely something that can happen.
Yeah.
But, again, he has looked so good since he has gone to San Francisco. He has avoided the injury bug for the most part. I know he's dealing with that thigh bruise right now. I don't really consider that a serious injury. But this is an offense. This is a top 5 offense in the NFL, a team with Super Bowl aspirations. Christian McCaffrey is the centerpiece of that offense with no competition in the backfield. So it's like, you gotta take that kind of upside if you want to win your fantasy league. And yes, he is risky, but I have taken him. I've taken him. I've gotten a couple opportunities in my best ball drafts to go 1st or 2nd. He's been available. I've taken him about half the cases. Otherwise, I usually go with one of those elite wide receivers. But I think he's a perfectly viable option this year, although you just have to acknowledge that he is risky. He could be an Austin Eckler, but if you're willing to take that risk, the upside could be fantastic, as it has been.
Yeah, I'm the only one with the ball to say don't draft him. Again, coming off 2 pinnacle years, that's my first sign. The fact that he got married, sometimes when they get married, they get comfy, they get cozy. He got paid, right? He's got no incentive and motivation to make any more money. So if I'm getting $19 million a year, I may not run hard, okay? Coming over a Super Bowl hangover, that's a big one, right? Super Bowl hangover, because typically players coming off Super Bowl hangover, they've kind of pushed really hard that year, right? They've made it to the finals. That the whole team's pretty much banged up already, right? They've got the drama with Ayuk and all that stuff. A lot of drama overall, right? So that's another thing. And then dealing with this calf strain already in the offseason. I heard he's good to go still, but that's kind of a sign and maybe a foreshadowing of things to come. There's a lot of things at his age, of course. There's a lot of things working against him, and there's a lot of red flags. If it was just Super Bowl hangover, I may have like considered something, or maybe if it was just coming off pinnacle year. There's just so many things just piling up, indicating that this guy is going to bust this year. He's going to get hurt. And people are like, oh, you're crazy and you're going to get it right eventually if you keep on it. Well, yeah, I got to keep on it because everybody's on him this year. So you can't say, if I say don't draft him, oh, well, you know, it was bound to happen. No, because everybody else is on him. So if everybody else wasn't on him and I was saying, I get it, but it's like I'm going completely against the grain. And that's a lot of balls to do that, to say don't draft McCaffrey. Go for players that are, we talked about it, trending upwards. You got to feel it. Like, I don't know if you ever done jujitsu, Jim. You don't look like a guy who's been in a lot of fights or anything like that. But but jujitsu where you grapple and stuff, you know, you're more of a model. You got the model look there going there, Jim.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So
that's what everybody says about me. They said, you should be a model. I'm like, yeah, I know.
So anyway, what I'm saying is, I've done it more of the grappling, and you got to flow with jiu-jitsu. If you're too rigid, if you're too rough, they're going to grab your arm, they're going to break it, right? You got to flow with it. And it's the same type of feeling with fantasy. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when players are trending up, know when they're trending down. And you got to feel the energy of Christian McCaffrey. I feel he's trending downwards. That's what the app says. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? Are you in on Christian McCaffrey? Because everywhere I look, man, every draft I see, Christian McCaffrey first off the board. It almost seems automatic for a lot of people, and you almost labeled as someone who's crazy if you go like a Breece Hall or Bijan or something like that. But that's not the fact, man. I mean, everybody called me crazy last year and said, don't draft Eckler, don't draft Pollard round 1, don't draft Dalvin Cook round 5, don't draft Mike Williams round 5, don't draft J.K. Dobbins round 4, don't draft T. Higgins round 2. That guy's crazy. Put him in a straitjacket, throw him in, lock him up, throw away the key, don't even feed him. You know, that's the mentality when you talk like that. But really, like, it's you gotta feel it out. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Christian McCaffrey. That's Jim's thoughts. Let's move on. All right, next guy here. I like the ceiling. Jim and I were arguing. He's like, no, don't put this guy at 3. But I mean, this is the year for Saquon Barkley. He's done with excuses. We talked about the trend up and down. He's trending upwards. And again, I don't care what he did last year. I care what Swift did last year. And Swift had not finished the season, Jim. He had not finished, but last year he did good. 229 attempts, 1,049 yards, 4.6 yards per carry, and 5 tutties. 5 touchdowns for DeAndre Swift, a guy who's had years to wow us. We're not wowed, can't stay on the field, and he finished it on the Eagles. And again, everyone keeps talking about the tush push. There's no Kelsey anymore in the center. I'm telling you, you don't want your top franchise quarterback running in the middle of a pile, putting himself at risk. There's limbs around, there's bodies around, there's men built like refrigerators jumping on top of the precious Jalen Hurts. They brought in Saquon, who knows how to do this more calculated. He's going to get the goal line work. I'm not concerned about Hurts being a threat. I know you're going to get to that argument. I'm not. He's going to see a decline in rushing attempts near the goal line is Hurts, and this is going to be the year of the Quan. This is the year of the Quan. The year of the Quan. That's it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. The year of the Quan.
Yeah, I'm just not super excited about Saquon. And again, it's all about opportunities. And you like the workhorse running backs, yet you don't seem to count these rushing quarterbacks as being another running back in the backfield, which they are, especially Jalen Hurts, who took 15 touchdowns. Again, you just said it. Swift only got 5. Josh Allen got 15 touchdowns.
Cook had 2.
Cook got 2, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is what we're talking about, and that really, really caps their value. So Saquon Barkley is a recommend, right? I mean, he scores 60 cutty points. I think he's a good option, but I think he's going way too early. He's right there with Jonathan Taylor. They both go off basically at the same time, early in the second round. I just see for both of them, it's way, way, way too early for both of them, just because of that limited goal line work. They're going to be limited there. And that's where you make your money as a running back, is getting the goal line work. Again, it's an upgrade situation for Saquon, right? Better quarterback, better offense, better weapons around him. There's going to be more scoring opportunities. It's all great. It's all positive. But I just see him as being capped in a way that Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs are not capped. Okay. And so because of that, I don't think he should be here at 3. I would put him probably down around 5 or 6 on this list, but that's just me. But like I said, he is still a recommend. He still scores really good on the Cuddy score. But there's other guys I would rather take. Like I'd rather have Derrick Henry than Saquon Barkley.
Did you listen? Did you read the banner? I updated the banner. Can you read the banner, Jim? Do you see it?
Draft the quad. Don't listen to Jim. I'll tell you what, man, you're going to be really upset on the goal. I know you, counselor. You get so upset when they substitute in a different running back and that running back gets the touchdown, like Montgomery for Gibbs.
Yes.
It's going to be the same thing, except it's just Jalen Hurts that's getting those touchdowns and not Saquon. And you're going to be like ripping your hair out. You're going to be so angry about it. Yeah. Why put yourself through that, man? Why put yourself through that? Just draft another guy where that's not going to be as much of an issue.
Yeah, but there's nobody else there. There's no other running back that I'm concerned about. So you're dealing with committees everywhere, and I'm telling you, he's going to be there to take the pressure off Hurts, and there's no other running back. But yes, when I see Hurts run near the goal line, I've got Saquon start, I will be calling you screaming. So
yeah, you will. Why are you putting me through that, counselor? Don't put me through that. Because I don't think I'm going to have any Saquon. I just can't see myself taking him where he's going at ADP. So I'm not going to put myself through that. You shouldn't put yourself through that.
Jim's phone's going to be on silent while the Eagles games are on. I go to text him. I'm like, Jim's on quiet mode. I don't know for some reason. Every time the Eagles on, Jim's on quiet mode for some weird reason. Well, I don't know.
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to have a lot. I have a lot of Jalen Hurts already, right? Okay. So I'm going to be like really happy when that happens. I'd be like, yay! All right, Jalen Hurts got another rushing touchdown. But yeah, so.
All right, let's move on to the beast here. Number 2, Breece the Beast Hall. And the big question is him or Bijan. We're going to get to Bijan in a second, but I spoiled it. But here's the thing. I got a bonus for you, so you got to stay till the end. I got a bonus guy that's going to crack the top 10 that I'm in on, so make sure you guys stay for that. But Breece Hall, obviously ultra talented, 2 years removed from his knee injury. This offense looks explosive. Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers looks good. I heard they're connecting well in camp. Now, the only concern is we don't know the beast. I've talked about this. We don't know the beast that is Braylon Allen, who looked really good in preseason. I think what I've done is I've gone Bijan round 1, and I've got, Braylon Allen later, so that if Breece ever goes down, I've got 2 RB1s. That's what I've done. But if you do have Breece Hall, I've never said this, Jim, something telling me in my gut, my line. See, there's a line. You get the line shirts below, guys. Smash, tap it, slap it shirts. One thing in my gut that's telling me, I don't know, I've got this feeling. It's a gut feeling, similar to the feeling we just talked about Chase Claypool. I put it down like you're getting a bench warmer here, and he goes on IR, and similar to Eckler and Pollard last year at Higgins. I got this gut feeling telling me draft Braylon Allen. Now, I'm not psychic at all. I'm really don't, but I'm very intuitive when it comes to fantasy sports. So if you do get Breece Hall, something's telling me, Jim, draft Braylon Allen later because he's so cheap. You could just get him. Like, just put him on your bench. I don't handcuff. I really don't. But if you do go Bijan, still get Braylon later as a stash. If you do go Breece, handcuff him. Barring any injury, if Braylon Allen doesn't get, integrated or really see some work, Breece Hall is primed for a massive season, like record-breaking fantasy football season. That's how much upside he has. Like, Breece the Beast is the man. So are you concerned about Braylon Allen, Jim, or do you feel that Breece is just going to run wild with no concerns here? I don't know. It's tough.
I like them both. I mean, first of all, Braylon Allen is an absolute steal on the draft board right now. He's going at ADP 185, so he's like a last-round pick for most players. I've grabbed him wherever I can. He's one of my favorite late-round running backs to target. I've got tons of shares of that guy. But Breece Hall, yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I do love the situation. I love the offense. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers is healthy and will be able to play the whole year. That will absolutely help Breece. My biggest concern with Breece is obviously his past durability issues. He suffered a season-ending injury 2 seasons ago, but now that is 2 seasons removed, which is very good. It is a contract year for Breece Hall. These are all very, very positive things. And so I love Breece Hall. If you take Breece Hall, I don't think I would take Braylon Allen, but I'm absolutely taking Braylon Allen in any league where I do not have Breece Hall, because I like to have all the other players' handcuffs for injuries. But yeah, I think Breece is great. So no hesitation with drafting him. I think he could be the RB1 this year.
All right, let's get to the number one here. Again, we got a bonus one here for you at the end. And make sure you guys do grab the 16-round drafts. We'll put you light years ahead of the sheep. Grab it below. Honestly, you're going to get everything you need to crush your leagues. The optimal ironclad roster, grab it below. All right, last one here is Bijan Robinson. Again, we're talking about trending upwards. Listen, this guy, again, the big reason I love him is minimal committee. And you say, well, Algier, there's rumors and talk about Algier getting work. They're going to say that. I mean, they're initially saying that, like, you know, Bijan's going to be like playing like CMC. That was the whole talk out of camp and all that, mini camp. And now they're saying, well, they're going to be more Algier. Algier is just a backup. I mean, last year he got way more volume than he ever deserved. 186 attempts was ludicrous for a guy who's lackluster. It's like literally going to a race. This is a race. This is your Super Bowl, guys. Like, you guys are trying to make the Super Bowl. You brought in Kirk Cousins. He wants to win a Super Bowl here with you guys. You are, giving it your best shot. And you're telling me you're going to go to your race and you're not going to race your Lambo. You're going to race your old Chevy or something like that. Like, it just doesn't make sense, man. Like, Bijan is the best player. He looked dynamic on all the plays. Every time he touched the ball, he looked good. Barring any type of injury, man, like I said, with any player, everyone's injury susceptible. This guy is going to run wild. I see the clearest path to RB1 fantasy point production here on an offense that finally has a quarterback that can throw the ball and stretch the field. This is it. I mean, this is literally a make or break season for this team. Cousins has got to come in and prove a point. So he's got Penix behind him. They drafted Penix. He's going to light a fire under Cousins. You got Drake London contract year. You got Kyle Pitts, who's had years to wow us. We're not wowed. Pitts, London, Cousins, and Bijan, they've all got something to prove here. Like, this is a big chip on all their shoulders. They got to do it. I love him. I'm all in. Ride or, perish to the moon. I don't care. This is the guy I'm riding into the sunset this year. This is the hill I go on, if you know what I mean. I unalive on. That's it. This is the hill. That's it.
Yeah, I love Bijan this year. I think he's going to be very, very good. There's no negatives on him, right? I can't think of any negatives. I think it's good that Arthur Smith is gone. It's good that Kirk Cousins is there. This is all a positive situation. So I'm in on Bijan. He is my number one running back this year. Scores 85 cutty points. Just extremely strong. And is a great first round option if you're going running back in the first round. So yeah, I don't have anything else to add. I think he's a great choice.
All right, I want to get to the bonus again. Before we get to the bonus, again, grab a ticket to the Fantasy Sports Summit, guys. The Sports Summit is going to be massive. It's going to be huge. It's 1 week away, August 21st. Secure your ticket and grab the 60-round draft solution. All right, so before I get to the bonus, I want to tell you that Jim and I fought about this, and he wrestled me, twisted my arm like this. It was a really tough twist, and he bent my arm. He almost popped my shoulder out of my socket. Jim is actually stronger than he looks. Don't think that he acts like he's not strong, but that's part of his defense mechanism, right? So if you go to attack him, he'll act like he's not strong, but then he'll ninja. He's got the ninja skills, and he's like Steven Seagal, right?
Don't call me Steven Seagal. No. But I got those judo skills. I'm going to use your weight against you and throw you to the ground. So
I've watched a lot of Steven Seagal videos. That guy is so delusional. He actually thinks he's stronger than he really is.
Did you know that he actually had something in his contracts when he makes movies that he cannot lose a fight in a movie? He never loses a fight. And that's in the contract. And so it's like, Steven Seagal, he sucks. So.
The ego is massive. You think some of these NFL players have egos. Man, oh man, this guy thinks he's in his prime still and fighting on a top level. Anyway, so the bonus guy here, again, Jim twisted my arm. He didn't want him in the top 10, but I'm telling you he's going to finish top 10, is Zamir White. opportunities prime, no committee. And we saw it in preseason. Madison's not a concern. Madison had his chance, blew it last year. Zero rushing touchdowns, 3.2 yards per carry, whatever he had. Zamir White's the man. He is primed. He's going to get the work. They didn't bring anybody else in. They didn't draft anybody else. This guy has top 10 upside written all over him on all my rosters as my RB3. That's it. I just draft him. I said it. I forget it. And that's it. I've got myself a league winner here. Zamir White, top 10 running back finisher. Love, love, love him. I could be wrong here, but hey, I don't care. I'm getting him round 5. I'm getting him on all my teams. I'm getting RB1. I'm getting a guy with no competition. I'm getting a guy who's young. I'm getting a guy who's hungry. I'm getting a guy who's incentivized. Zamir White. I'm all in. I don't care. This is the hill I go on as well. That's it. I'm all in on Zamir. Are you in on Zamir? You're not in on Zamir. I don't know why you don't like Zamir.
You know what? I got to say, I've taken a surprising amount of Zamir in my best ball drafts. I've probably got about 20. I got him on about 20% of my. He rates really well on the app. You know, I mean,
we lost you, Jim.
1 cutty points.
Sorry, we lost you. Can you take it? Okay, let me take it back from the. You froze. Let me just take it from the Zamir White. Let me see. Hold on. Okay, so let me go with Zamir White. You don't have any stock, and then just start with take it from the top with Zamir.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, Zamir, actually, I've taken quite a bit of him in my best ball drafts. I think I got about a 20% market share of him in all my drafts this season. And he is showing as a really good value player at where he's going. You know, late 5th, early 6th round is where you typically have to take him. He scores 61 cutty points, which is very strong. That's very, very good. I've told you my biggest concern with him is related to the fact that he was just a guy that came on at the end of last season. Was that real, or was he really good because he had fresh legs and everyone else was just dead dog tired because it was the end of the season? We'll see. We'll see this year. You know, is the Las Vegas offense great? Nah, it's probably not going to be that great. But if he gets all the work, he's going to be great for fantasy. And we've seen that time and time again. And so I do see the opportunity there for him. And so he's got the upside. He's got the value. It just remains to be seen if he can really produce at the levels that we saw last year. So, but yeah, I mean, I think he's a solid choice. I don't think he's an RB1, but he could be a great RB2 for your team, and you'll be very happy with him at where you're drafting him.
So I've got a new rhyme for Zamir because I had one. Don't be a donkey, draft Lad McConkey. Ready for Zamir?
Sure.
You'll shed a tear if you don't draft Zamir. How does that sound?
That sounds like the truth, man. You know, when you rhyme stuff, it makes people believe it more. You know, if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit, right? I mean, it's just that one of those kind of things. But yeah, if you're trying to persuade somebody, throw some rhymes in there. You'll convince them.
Oh yeah, I think a lot. Even it's funny because even Tim the bald guy wasn't in on Lad McConkey, but ever since I started the donkey talk, he was all in. He didn't want to be a donkey, so he's drafting Lad McConkey. So there you go. So if you don't want to spread any tears, draft Zamirs. There you go. All right, man. That's it for us. There's your bonus one there for you. Top 10 fantasy football running backs. We're talking running back rankings here, which, again, I don't really like to discuss. I'm more into the 16 rounds and avoiding certain players and looking in between the cracks, because that's what happens here with the rankings. Sometimes, you know, a lot of these guys are going to fail. Again, they finished on top last year. We don't like to copy and paste, but there was some copying and pasting here for educational purposes, of course. All right, guys, smash a tap and see you at the Fantasy Sports Summit. We're here every morning, 7 a.m. We got the lives at 8:30, and have yourself a great day, guys. We're out. Thank you. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, everybody.